are Confessional Magazine, and this is More to the Story, brought to you today by Iris and Bo, whose toner helps keep my laugh lines in check, because you never know what our guests are going to say. Visit irisandbo.com today and use code CONFESSIONAL for 20% off. So much love in this heart of mine. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Confessional Magazine, and I am Taylor, and I'm here today with the wonderfully talented Lina Cooper. Thank you so much for being here today, Lina.
Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here today.
Of course. So Lina, I believe, is calling us from LA, and she has just released a new music video today, and I'm so excited to just get into this and learn like where she came from, how she got into music. And I came across her page randomly, and her music is just very beautiful and fun at the same time. Like, it gets you to think. But we're just gonna have a little chat with Lina today. So Lina, you are calling from LA?
Yes, I am. I'm calling from the West Coast. If you're specific, from the Valley itself. It's very hot in here today. So yeah, all the way from LA.
Well, so Lina, how did you get into the music industry, or did you just like grow up listening and you just found your voice that way?
So the way it started for me, I always loved music. Like, it was never, it was always out of question for me. I didn't consider it to be my profession until I was like, I would say maybe around like 13 years old, when I actually got into there's this like special music boarding school in Ukraine where it's literally like regular classes like math and physics mixed up with like music theory and stuff like that. So after I started going to that school, which I begged my parents to take me to, they were like, "Are you really serious about music?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm serious. I really want to do this." And they were super supportive. They're really far from music. They're really far. My mom's a journalist. My dad used to be like a university professor, and they have nothing to do with music. So they're like, "Okay, sure, like do your thing." But I feel like I always knew that I wanted to do this. I didn't have the guts to actually make a decision up until I was like 13 or so. And ever since, it was just like music all the way, every single day of every week.
Yeah, I mean, your voice is so soulful, and it's like, I don't know how old you are, Lina, but you have like a very wise sound to your voice, and like,
Thank you. I'm 22, by the way. Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah. Taylor Swift age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lina, do you write your own music, and how do you come up with your words that you're putting pen to paper? Where do you pull from?
That's a great question. First of all, yes, I do write my own songs. That's probably, besides performing, that's my favorite thing, like specifically writing songs. I love writing songs because they come so differently every single time. Like, one day will be just like a hook melody, the other day would be a chord progression. Most of the times I do start with lyrics or like with a lyrical idea. Like, I usually have like just a story or a feeling that I'm writing about in my head before I write a song, or like a cool catchphrase. But it happens differently every single time. Like, sometimes I could be driving, since I got a car, like I can't text and drive, and sometimes I would be driving and I would get an idea and I'm like, oh my God. So I just like start literally recording a voice memo of like random stuff I'm like blabbering and that doesn't make any sense, that I later on put into words. Sometimes I'm at work and I just get an idea, so I write it in my notes. Like, my phone is where all the songs come from, voice memos with regular notes, with all that stuff. And also my songbook is when I have time, when I'm like at home or on my break or something. That's when I actually sit down to write a song, like physically. But yeah, that's why I'm in love with songwriting. It comes differently every single time.
And that's you're a true musician, because you don't know when it's going to hit you, and you're just like, I need some way to record.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so in this boarding school, from your boarding school in Ukraine, what was your next step after that adventure, which had to have been so just interesting and just wild to at a young age be making that decision like, no, I am serious about this. And it's so great that your parents were so supportive of that at the same time.
The next step after that, I went to a Berklee College of Music summer program, like a 5-week summer program. And I thought it was just going to be like, oh, I'm going for a summer program. But then I actually enjoyed it so much. I was like, I want to go to Berklee. And for 3 years before graduating high school, I was literally like daydreaming. I was obsessed with the idea of like, I always wanted to move to the US. Like that was out of question. Like I always wanted to do this. I just didn't know how. And then it was like, wow, like I would love to go to that college. And I applied and I got in. And after that, it was history.
Done deal. So
Yeah.
is your family still in the Ukraine then?
Yeah.
How often do you get to see them? And with like COVID, especially like
I wasn't able to see them. I was stuck in here. I actually, fun fact, I was supposed to fly out to see them in Ukraine on the day where the US went on lockdown. So literally I woke up that morning and, colleges were announced to be closed, like, restaurants, stores, everything. And I was just like, wow, like, am I not gonna get like, get to go and see my family? I'm
yeah.
going to see them in June for the first time in like
Yay.
3 years.
Oh wow. That's got to be so hard and but also like gosh, like so something to look forward to now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's so exciting. I'm so happy for you that, things are opening up enough that you're able to go back and do that too. So, Berklee, which is just amazing, first of all, that, you're there and you're studying. And are you studying did you study music? Is that the program you went into?
Yes, yes. I went to Berkeley in Boston, not the one in LA. The one in LA is like, everything all together. The one in Boston is literally like Berklee College of Music, so it's
Yeah.
only musicians.
Yeah.
So
My best friend actually went there.
nice. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's a great school. It's a great
Yeah.
school. And I studied, I have a dual degree. One major was contemporary writing and production, which is like arranging, producing, engineering. And the other degree was songwriting and a minor in conducting. So that's what I did.
That's incredible. And I mean, that's like top notch, like Berklee College of Music, it's top, like good for you. And then, so from there, were you able to like meet different people and like start networking? And like, is that how you made it out to LA from Boston? Cause you were East Coast and then.
Yep, yep, sort of. That's actually a really good, something that a lot of my professors told me that I never understood was they were like, it's not even about what you're gonna learn at Berklee. It's more about the people that you're gonna meet, like the network that you're gonna build, that you're gonna use later in life. And that
Mhm.
was the most important advice that they could have given me that I didn't realize up until I graduated. But it was me and two of my best friends that I lived with in Boston. All three of us decided to make a road trip to LA. So we literally drove across the whole country, and right now we live together still. Yeah, I mean, it definitely made it easier. I knew some people right away when I moved here. I knew the people that I lived with, who are my best friends. And a lot of opportunities came my way just because I knew some people from Berklee, for sure.
I, that's amazing. So out in LA, what do you do for like your day job? And how do you know, kind of separate from like I got to get like my music job is like the dream, right? Like how do you and where are you performing or where have you performed around LA?
So around where I work in LA, I got hired as an assistant engineer at Harbor Studios. So that's sort of like my day job, which is still music and still great. It's an amazing studio.
That's cool.
It's incredible people that I work with. But it is like assistant engineering. It's not like being an artist,
Mhm.
which, I'm still happy being, getting paid with a music job, which is incredible. And whenever I don't do this, I do my thing. Literally, I have no days off. I don't have time, like any time off, because whenever I I don't work, I work for myself.
Yeah.
So that's thing number one. And where I performed, I've only performed online ever since I got here, because LA, I think they're gonna open live events on June 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yay.
So yeah, it's exciting. But so far I've done online shows, like live streams, but nothing like in person, like actual shows.
Yeah. So can you tell me about your new music video that was just released today and about your, the single that goes along with it
Oh my God, I love that song so much. I love talking
so
about it.
much?
So it's called What I Gave to You, and it's featuring my really, really good friend Yah Kumasi. That's his stage name. We met right before COVID. We were supposed to play a radio gig together. He was supposed to be my guitarist, I was the singer. And on the day, like, we already met up, we rehearsed, we were on the train on the way to the gig, and then boom, COVID, it's canceled. The radio station was literally shut down. The host messaged us and he was like, I literally just showed up to the radio station and it's closed. No show today. Sorry, guys. And we were like, well, we still have 2-3 hours to spare, so why don't we go grab a coffee? And
Yeah.
ever since, we became really close friends. We were stuck together during the lockdown. We met up pretty much every single day and worked on music every single day. I already have a song out called This Time that we co-wrote together. And this song is the one where he's actually featured. And this song we wrote about it wasn't even the specific situation or a person that we wrote it about. It was just sort of like a feeling when that we both could relate to very much, where you feel like when you're parting, like splitting ways with someone, but they're the ones making that decision and leaving you, and you were so heavily involved in that relationship and you were giving your like 100%, you were giving everything to that person, and you kind of feel like everything that you have right now, like whatever it is, like your jobs, your friends, the apartment, like your energy or whatever it is, I gave that to you. Like, I worked so hard, I invested so much in this relationship, and now you're just walking away with all these things that I gave you. But everything that you have now used to belong to me, or it was something that I shared with you. And that was the song. And although it sounds kind of sad, the music video is, I love it so much. It's just little like bits and pieces. I call it like a box of memories that you sort of open. It's just our home footages with the guy the song is with, of like us writing the song and like co-writing, producing, of just like, like us hanging out together. And the whole music video is just that. It's just literally just our home footage, which I feel like romanticizes friendship a lot, which I feel like friendship should be definitely seen as like absolutely as valid and as important, and as important in your life as a romantic relationship. So I feel like that music video does a really good job of like portraying friendship as a very like warm feeling, a very beautiful feeling. And
Yeah, I
yeah.
actually watched it. I watched it early, just a few hours ago when it was released, and I was watching it, and at first, the first few seconds, I was like, I wonder if that's her boyfriend, like when I'm first watching. But then as I continue to watch it, my head's not thinking of my husband. My head, as I was watching, was thinking of my best friend Brian. That I
So
literally,
nice.
and now you're like validating, like that's like where my head went. It went to that like real, like it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, your best friend could be. And that relationship is so, so, so important. So you nailed it. You nailed it with that video. I love it so much.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that this is what it made you think of. That
Yeah.
means the job.
Yeah. So what are your goals? I always like to ask this because this magazine is pretty new. And so in 5 years, I want to do like a check-in with everybody that I've talked to in my
Nice.
first year with this. And I want to ask you right now, like, what are your goals for the next 5 years? Or like, where would you hope to see yourself? And then I want to check back in with everyone down the road.
Uh, okay, I'm a big dreamer, so let's do it this way. Uh, in 5 years, I hope to be making a living off of my artist career. That's like a goal number one. I don't want to do any side jobs or anything like that. Like I can do something else for fun, but my main goal is making a living off of being an artist. I would love to have a very dedicated and genuine fan base of people who just, you know, who can relate to my music and who would want to hear more from me, who would, you know, like who would want to meet me and talk to me and come to my shows and just listen to my music, because I would love to share it with as many people as possible. I would love to be playing big shows. I would love to, you know, collaborate with some of my favorite artists. Um, and I probably the most important thing, I would love to be a very happy person just by doing what I love. I just want to be doing what I love, not worrying about like what I'm, you know, what I'm gonna do tomorrow,
Mhm.
and just be happy and make music. That's what I want to do.
Good. I mean, you're already headed down that path, so I can't wait to like just see the future like unravel for you. So speaking of your musical influences, who would you say that like some of them are? I'm also curious because you know you grew up internationally. What kind of, because I know like not every place is listening to the same music at the same time. So who did you grow up listening to? Were there any like people from the States that you were hearing, or like where did you pull your like inspiration or your favorites from?
Yeah. That's a very popular question that people ask me, because they're like, "You're from Ukraine, you live here, you make, you know, you sing in English. Like, where is that coming from?" Since one of the biggest reasons why I moved to the US is because I really love American artists, and not even specifically American, but international artists, but mostly not Ukrainian. I could never relate as much to Ukrainian music and like Eastern European music in general. Like there's definitely artists that I love, but not as much as, you know, like I grew up listening to British, American, Australian music most of the time, English music, you know,
Mhm.
which my favorite band was Queen, because my
Yeah.
mom loved Queen, and we actually had like CDs like in our houses and stuff. Then I started playing electric guitar because fell in love with AC/DC, which are Australian. I loved the Beatles, which are British, and after like I grew up as a teenager listening to more of like classic rock type of music, but then as I became like as I, you know, was getting older, I fell in love with pop music. My first artist that I completely like became an actual fan of was Katy Perry.
I love that.
During she would back when she just dropped I Kissed a Girl, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, she's singing about kissing a girl and it's normal. Like
Right.
that's crazy. And to me it was just like, wow, like you can make like a catchy song that is like super, you know, like danceable, and she's also like talking about kissing a girl. This is so weird, but this is so cool. And but my icon of all times that I will just always reference as my main influence would be Taylor Swift. She People can judge me for it. People can be disappointed, but I don't care. I named my car Taylor because of Taylor Swift. I literally like she is my biggest influence as a songwriter specifically. She
Mhm.
is very inspiring and influential to me as a songwriter more than anything else.
Oh, I mean, I remember when I first moved. So I grew up right outside New York City in New Jersey, and I moved out to Ohio where I live now for college. And I remember like just listening to her CDs on repeat and being like, this is like a teenager and she's like doing this. And then I watched her documentary about 500 times. That's on Netflix.
I love that documentary. So
So
good.
good.
Oh my
So
god.
good. Yeah. So I totally like respect. I mean, my name's Taylor. So
I was about to say that. Like I was like, should I say that that's like one of my favorite names because of Taylor Swift or no? But yeah, I literally named my car Taylor. Like that's like everyone is like, you're crazy, Lina. You're
no,
crazy.
I love it. I do want to ask you. So I know you're like little, maybe not tagline, but the yellow manic pixie. So tell me about this.
So first it started with just like being a yellow girl. At some point in time, I just started wearing I just had a lot of yellow in my wardrobe for some reason. And some people like at my shows or like on my pictures, like on Instagram, wherever in real life, they sort of like associated that color with me, and I was like, that's so cool, like I can actually make it my thing, because a lot of artists have their like very like significant features about them. Let's say like Amy Winehouse has the hair, like Taylor Swift has the red lips and the blonde hair, like she never changes her hair color, it's always blonde and like the red lips. Or like Lady Gaga's just crazy like all the time, you know, and everyone has their like particular thing. And I'm like, yellow can be my thing. Like this way, people, whenever people see like a picture, a video, a song cover, like anything, and it's yellow, they will know that it's me. They don't even need to like Google it or anything. So I kind of stuck to it. And the Manic Pixie Dream Girl came from me sort of just like, I read about that term online. It's a term that describes a female character, and I think it came to be in like late 90s, early 2000s, where basically the main female character is created in that movie to help the male protagonist you know, like evolve or like change his life or grow, you know, like just do something. She doesn't really have her own like history, she doesn't have a lot of personal features, she's just a supplemental character. But in the same way, you know, she changes lives of people around her, and she's so influential, and she's this like quirky weird character that no one can really understand. And she always ends up gone, like for whatever reason. Either she gets bored and she just leaves, or she's too much for people and they can't handle her, so they have to leave her for whatever reason. But she never ends up like being happy at the end of the movie. So I could relate to that character a lot. So I was like, you know what, I'm a yellow manic pixie dream girl. That's probably what my artistry and songs are mostly about. So yeah.
And that's so interesting. And I even love that even more because like yellow is always associated with just like being this like happy, bright all the time thing. But you're like adding this like realistic human embodiment of the color yellow.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. So Lina, I'm so excited to hear more from you. And I just feel like you just have such an amazing story. And I just respect your artistry so much. And I can't wait to hear more from you. And, you know, everybody, how can they find you to listen to more of your music or follow you on Instagram?
Totally. You can find me everywhere. I'm Spotify, you know, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Tidal, whatever you listen to on all the platforms. I'm Lina Cooper. Lina as in Lina, Cooper as in Bradley Cooper, Mini Cooper. And on Instagram, it's Lina_Cooper. You can Google me, you can search me on YouTube. I will pop up as like, there's like surprisingly, as simple as it sounds, there's not a lot of Lina Coopers out there, which I was really happy to find out. So definitely search for me everywhere and I will pop up. Lina
Amazing.
Cooper.
Well, thank you so much for joining me again. And I just, like I said, everybody, please check out Lina. She's fabulously talented. And thank you for listening to her story. And Lina, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, it was so nice to talk. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.